nourish your Sigma grind set. At the Pre-Engineer Society, we are on a mission to empower aspiring engineers and other related professions. We emphasize bringing valuable information to you from health and medicine to space and physics, because when you create value, you make a change, an impactful change that has 100% value. Pre-Engineer Society, nourish your Sigma grind set. Without further ado, let us present the Pre-Engineers podcast. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the hot new science topics in engineering, space, and medicine. Last week, we talked about whaling, and in this science podcast, we will talk about Mars, how we travel there, and the architecture, and how we will bring resources. Today, we are joined by James, Gio, Thomas, Jan, and Alia. So, introduce yourself with a Sigma fact.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice.
Just go.
All right, Gio, you go first.
You go.
All right, I'm Jan, and I procrastinate my homework. That's so Sigma.
I'm Gio, and I shoot children. In laser tag. Sorry, in laser tag.
I'm Thomas, and for the past few days, I've been doing the Attack on Titan grind.
Very nice.
I'm Alias, and guess what? I still don't have a fun fact prepared. Or a Sigma fact.
That's almost the same as last week, but clearly original.
Clearly original.
I'm William, and I just stay indoors the whole day, thinking how I could be better and do more stuff. So, yeah, very poggers, and Harry Poggers.
James.
I've got to say a Sigma fact.
Yes.
Yeah, Sigma fact.
I tried doing the Sigma fact with Thomas, but then just decided to procrastinate in a different manner.
Very nice, very nice.
Very nice.
Very good.
We love that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to say, I wake up, take a shit, and then leave my bed.
Very smart
Anyway.
and very intriguing. Yeah.
Let's get on to
Innovative
Mars now.
ideas. Yeah. So, do you guys know the architecture? Who knows here the architecture on Mars?
Well, they're
There is no architecture on Mars yet.
Yeah, okay, there currently is no architecture on Mars, but I have a question for you guys. When you commonly think of what a Mars habitat would look like, what would you think of?
Well, I
A
imagine
warship place for Elon Musk.
I mean, I already...
William?
No, though.
No, but seriously, what is like the stereotypical like Mars habitat?
Glass domes with gardens and stuff, which is at the moment not going to happen because there's a ton of radiation.
That is just completely impossible.
So basically, they're going to have robots that are going to 3D print houses, or at least the outsides, which is going to be made out of
Maybe you should let Thomas
regolith.
say this.
I've seen many examples of suitable architecture for Mars, taking into consideration all of the like environmental differences that Mars has to Earth, including like different weather, different gravity, and also just different atmospheric pressure.
Mm-hmm.
One of like the most widespread idea is like 3D printed houses, and another one I've seen is using the terrain to create houses. Which is basically, instead of having like what we'd consider to be a house, the architecture would literally just be hills, because using the
Or a hole in the ground.
using the atmospheric pressure and the hole in the ground. What do you mean? Using the atmospheric pressure and the gravity, the houses would just sustain themselves in terms of like structure.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I
basically...
think we're forgetting, don't we have to prevent radiation, right?
That's
There must
basically
be-
why they would do that. So with 3D printing, right, they would, take the Mars regolith, which you find everywhere, and then convert it into like sort of concrete in a way, and basically have you could call it outside exoskeleton that helps block most of the radiation, if not all. And then they would like build the rest inside with habitats and stuff. Obviously, they can't just have it like that because,
Yeah.
once again,
Right.
there's like the atmosphere. It's like only 1% of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Wait,
And how would we be able to sustain the population, right? Like it needs food. Like how would we grow our own food? And
Okay, boys.
isn't that like
Resource time.
Resource.
Resource time. You guys want to hear something about Mars?
Cockroaches.
So,
Cockroaches.
Actually,
Oh, gosh.
yeah, that is like a big thing that I was seeing. So, also, I want to say something about the atmosphere. So, yes, just as Gio said, 1%, so 100 times thinner, which means that if you were standing on Mars on the equator, then your feet would feel like they're in summer, like 24 degrees Celsius, while your head, it would be winter, it would be 0 degrees Celsius. So that's already the
Wow.
difference that it makes. It doesn't retain the heat. And yes, okay.
Also,
Yeah.
just before we move on, I also have a question because Thomas, you said that they would build a house out of the ground, but if that's where the radiation is coming from, how the hell would you do that?
No, the radiation isn't coming from the ground. Solar
It's
radiation.
coming from the sun, yeah.
Solar radiation, my guy.
Yeah, but isn't
Mars
there?
doesn't-
I read
Mars
there
doesn't
was
have-
also radiation like
There's
from
radiation
the
everywhere,
ground, so-
but there's not.
Yeah,
much
Mars doesn't have
anyway.
a strong enough. Like the biggest issue in terms of radiation is the solar radiation because Mars doesn't have a strong enough atmosphere.
Yeah.
to-
Magnetic
and it doesn't have
fields.
a magnetic pole. The magnetic pole.
It used to have one, but then the core cooled down.
Oops.
Yeah, it doesn't have the magnetic poles required to, change the flow of the solar radiation.
Yeah. Also,
I
then one
see.
problem with the field, like growing plants, it's impossible to grow anything on the Mars regolith, like
Yes.
unprocessed, because of the amount of heavy metal, salts, and different stuff that are very bad for
Yes.
plants. So
I think
we would
we have a
to
lot
be
of
able to-
experience with
No, we don't.
Okay,
we have a
guys,
lot of experience with artificial just like
Right.
building and growing stuff in a greenhouse, just
Yeah, but you're
Guys,
gonna
oh,
have
you
to
know-
bring. You can't
Soil.
just bring tons of soil, right? So you need to get
Guys,
it there.
Mhm.
But if it's
Yeah, that's logistically impossible.
you
guys,
can
okay, you know, I
process
want
it.
to say that it's good that William brought up the food thing because out of the 5 resources which are needed the most for Mars colonization, energy, water, oxygen, construction materials, and food is the only one that you cannot find on Mars, right? And
But you still
I
have to
wanted
grow it there.
Yeah, so exactly. So I want to ask you guys: do you think that greenhouses would be effective?
Well,
Once
do you
again,
mean?
you
They
need,
would
you
work.
need the dirt, you need the soil, you need stuff to put
Okay,
the
If you brought soil from the earth, would that make like, cause like in countries you have like, for example, you have like embassies, right? And that's like the soil
Oh.
from the actual country that the embassy is from. If we brought soil from Earth to Mars, would that make it Earth on Mars?
the problem with using greenhouses is that the fact we don't
Radiation.
have soil, and
No, but
no, it's mainly the soil because
It's ma-
if
the
you
soil,
wanted to
yeah,
supply, if you wanted to supply soil,
Radiation can
soil
happen
has a
too.
limited amount of nutrients in it, so it would be really expensive
Yes.
compared to any other options that.
Very true.
what
Guys-
are the other options then?
wait,
I
guys,
agree.
I want
There
to
aren't
say
many.
something. Oh yeah, guys, greenhouses also actually do have another bigger problem even, because
Which is?
In a normal greenhouse, right? The windows absorb from 60 to 70% of all of the heat, right? And
Yeah.
And because there's even less light on Mars than there is
It would
on
still
Earth,
will.
because
It
it's
will
farther
still
away.
work.
No, but no, it wouldn't be sufficient to grow anything.
It would.
Yeah, true. In like colder parts.
You could always
Like-
just do some
Guys,
vertical
yeah.
farming.
the amount of sunlight or warmth that you'd get actually would be comparable to like trying to make plants in Alaska.
Well, I know, but there's probably a way to.
It's more realistic to use vertical farming. Basically, also
Yeah,
using LED lights and UV lights
Yes,
instead
yes,
of
yes.
having to use
Yeah.
the sun.
That
But
would
that's
yes.
very, like, energy-wise, very
Yeah.
expensive.
So we would probably need like a lot of solar panels and even nuclear
Not-
reactors,
Actually,
micro ones,
energy.
which is very
think-
realistic. Like NASA is testing a nuclear reactor for Mars, which they hope people who go there can use.
I think could be a way to harvest the wind power on Mars, right? Because I heard there's a lot
Oh
of
yeah, true.
There's dust storms,
then
but
that could, yeah.
But now that we've outruled
no.
greenhouses as a way to provide food, what are the other options then?
Well, vertical farming.
Yeah, so
What's he
so we need some artificial way to make food, and in short term colonization, like bringing growing anything. Bringing any cows or pigs or something right to Mars would be very impractical.
They definitely would not do that.
Exactly, and growing stuff there like crops wouldn't be the best. So
It's like one of the
what-
only options.
So what?
Growing stuff there is one of the only options.
Yeah, okay, but
It is,
there's an alternative, right? Which is first of all
Cockroaches.
insects.
You're
Because
gonna
of
need
their
to
high protein count.
give the
Like
insects
guys,
food.
you know, this might sound surprising, but like I think it's like what is it? Cockroach flour.
Yeah, they
Yes.
have a lot of protein and very nutritious,
Yes.
but
So
they're gonna need to eat
So-
something too.
yeah. Okay, yes, but they don't need a lot of feed. You're right. Fine.
they
There,
still
there
need
will be needed a small amount of farming,
And you
right?
can't
But
just have-
artificial so like algae, meat. Artificial algae, meat, fish, milk, and eggs. All artificial, are
How do you
already
make artificial eggs?
yeah,
or fish?
already within the realm of science, and this is an industry that's being invested into a lot. Because, for example,
It is.
But
guys,
it's hard
you know-
to do that stuff on Mars. It's much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
You're gonna
guys,
have
you
to
know-
carry all those resources multiple times then. So you have
right.
to
Yeah,
do
exactly.
something on Mars itself.
Another benefit of
Yeah,
having cockroaches is that they're how fast they reproduce. Because sure, they need food to be kept alive, but as long as they can reproduce before the need of food, you're gonna have a steady source of food without any like cost.
And also, I wanted to say, in like cockroaches, right? They can eat stuff humans can't eat. For instance, right? Cockroaches actually they eat books. They can eat books to just
You can't
survive.
just bring
They can even
books.
eat.
They eat knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. They can eat books.
Yeah,
And they
but
can
you
eat
can't
hair.
bring
They can.
like
Yeah, I know. But it's an example though. They can eat. They can probably, if we bring a kind of insect, we can maybe artificially modify. They eat the stuff on Mars, and so then we could just create like artificially
What are they
create
gonna
life
eat on
on Mars
Mars?
that actually. I think that we could
The
probably find no, but the thing is, right? We could artificially modify them to be able to eat some. But I'm sure there's some elements and materials that the insects we could, in the future, I think with do you guys know CRISPR? I think we could,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe change the DNA. There's like many modifications we can make, and I think that's something because insects and
Who wants
even
to eat
plants.
glowing cockroaches?
they can't just eat the dirt because it's very toxic.
I know, and
Even if they are fine with it, we're gonna eat them, and then we're gonna get very sick.
Yeah.
So it's not the most effective.
I mean, it's better to die of it. It's. I still consider it progress if we die of a disease relating to the food than not having food.
yeah, I think it's like Thomas said, it's certainly a good first step. And because insects and plants,
It's not
they
a good
can
step
convert
if you just
sunlight
die.
into
And if
stuff
you're
we
sick,
can't.
You can't do anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I prefer to die of an.
So then, when you're sick, you're wasting resources, and this you can't.
The longer we talk about this, the more apparent it seems that vertical stacks or like nuclear-powered greenhouses would be a better option. Because, like, for example, with a nuclear-powered greenhouse, I'm saying greenhouse, but like just a structure that grows plants or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
vertical
actually pretty
farming.
good because you get free
That's
energy and climate control because you have to cool down the radioactive substance,
yeah, that's
which
probably the
in
most
turn gives you
realistic.
warm water.
It's the most realistic and
Yeah.
So we should
doable
ask
plan.
Jan for insight, since wasn't he the one who researched this?
A bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, boys. Oh yeah, yes. Well, thank you, boys. So yes, there will need to be some, as you were saying, artificial farming, right? But that is more seen long term, because all of the equipment will need to be shipped from Earth, right, to make it happen. And oh yeah, what else? There was like, like injecting the chemicals straight into the plants so that they grow artificially faster and stuff like that.
To make the frogs big.
Oh yeah, wait. Okay, would you like to know how oxygen is going to be produced?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Plants,
Okay, boys.
Oh yeah.
Plants.
You know what? You say. My friend.
Oh, thank you. Well, we were talking about. I mean, earlier I mentioned that there's 5 main resources which we need, and we were just talking
Right.
about food. So then there's energy, water, oxygen, materials, and oxygen is actually relatively easy to get because there's so much carbon dioxide, and it can all be turned into oxygen, breathable oxygen.
Then you get free carbon fiber as well.
NASA is
Yeah, we could
testing
be-
a little
That's what.
box that extracts oxygen from the atmosphere, and it has
Yeah.
been very effective, even better than they thought it would be so far. So that's one way, and then also finding frozen water,
Yes.
and then
So
splitting the molecules.
Exactly. So that's how the water. I mean, the frozen water ice is going to be used for water, but to drink. But I mean, if it could be a last resource to get some oxygen out.
Yeah. Not only that,
Well,
though.
there is a thing called water purifiers as well.
Yeah. So you just
you
get the
can-
ice from Mars, and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
exactly.
But not only that, like splitting the
Yeah,
water, you can
infinitely
also
better.
make rocket fuel necessary for the rockets. Like the
True for
Starship.
hydrogen, yeah.
Starship is they use oxygen, hydrogen. Do they use hydrogen?
Thing is,
No, they don't
thing
use
is, let's
hydrogen,
say
I think.
rocket. I mean,
And methane.
I think rocket fuel
NASA
is too
uses
much of a
hydrogen.
priority.
Yeah, they don't use
Because I'm pretty
hydrogen.
sure the first thing you're thinking of when you get onto Mars isn't how to get out of Mars.
Yeah.
But it's
Maybe.
saying that
What do you
it's
mean?
very possible to get out. And if it goes
I mean,
wrong,
if you're going
you need
there
to get out.
That would literally be my priority.
Exactly.
No, but Alias, guys, if you're going to Mars to live on Mars, and I agree with Thomas.
Right, but you need an escape plan. If anything goes wrong, you're literally
Yeah, but-
years away from help.
Thing is, that would likely, like, if it's the people preparing it are like mildly intelligent, that would probably be prepared still down on Earth.
Yeah.
And I have to
It's
say,
still
there's
takes
no way.
years to
Don't you
come
know
to you.
that our pappy
No, no,
Elon Musk is producing the reusable rockets?
Yeah, Starship, which has a cargo
No, but-
of 100 tons or 100 people.
Well,
No, but
we,
there's no
that's
way
not,
to
we don't
achieve
know that
Mars.
for sure. It hasn't estimated.
Yeah, but a very high amount. Like,
But yeah.
theoretically, it could do 100 tons at least. But, like, even if it's not, that is still much more than, like, any other rocket or capsule so far.
And
That has
also,
been-
the other problem is what I'm going back to what Alias said, right? Like he says, we need an escape plan. The problem is though, is that the Earth and Mars orbit, the closest they get is like every 2 years, and so the chances of that, if they need help, they can only help after 2 years, and not only that, right? Even the closest it can get is Earth to Mars is around 55 million kilometers away. And that takes donkey years to go there, Like there's the escape plan. Like Ali said, it's almost, I don't know. I don't think
to
it's
get
a
there, it
viable
takes
option.
7 months.
It's kind of impossible, yeah.
at the close. Yeah.
You-
so, like,
If you're
you can get off planet, but, like, it's not realistic to get to Earth. But you can have, like, a station, in orbit with, like, food and stuff, and some people
Yeah,
stay
I
and
mean,
then
to
go
be fair,
down.
you probably have some like some base orbiting around
Yeah,
Mars.
that's probably.
Oh, guys, also something that I came across is the idea that robots should first actually come to Mars and harvest.
Well, they already
That's,
have.
yeah,
and then-
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They send
I
robots
think they're
first.
doing
They
that with the
build all the stuff.
Curiosity rover.
They find areas. They flatten areas so that rockets can land, and then 2 years later, humans come.
Nice.
Then 2 years after that, even more. And then so on.
And then we overpopulate Mars as well.
Yeah.
Also, like speaking
Let's-
about the Starship,
We're gonna manage to do air pollution on a planet that doesn't even have oxygen.
it does not
And
much.
do you guys
Yes.
know?
Yeah, William.
Do you guys know how the specific population needed to not become inbred? Because with this population, right? We can't just be sending people from Earth to Mars because that takes way too long. That takes way too much money. The population has to be self-sustaining and reproducing.
I heard what it is.
Well, basically,
Yeah, what is it?
I mean, I heard that you need at least 25 people to get all of the
There's
genetic
gonna be more
diversity
than-
on Earth.
No, you need more. No.
I heard it's only
I guess
10.
if they reproduce the
What?
No. You need 500 people, at least.
What?
Yeah.
oh,
It
That's
makes
according-
sense. Like, if you don't want any kind of incest,
yeah,
and
but basically, listen. So far the plan is the Starship is estimated to cost 5 million at the beginning of full production, once all the testing is done and everything, if it's done right, which is very cheap. So a very efficient rocket for only 5 million. So, and a guy who has
For only by immediately. No?
only 5 million, yeah, bro. For Elon Musk, who has 200 billion, so he can easily fund that, and so can NASA.
Hello, children.
Hey, we're recording right now.
And so basically, the plan is to try to bring at least 100 starships every 2 years, which probably at first
Wow.
isn't gonna happen, but still probably even 10 to 20, maybe a fair amount.
Right.
And you can fit quite a few people in there, so you're gonna easily get 500 people very quickly there, and very high payload capacity, so you can bring a lot of resources if you pick the right stuff, which can also allow you to be sustainable on Mars itself.
Okay, guys.
And then
Good.
yeah, also once
Okay.
they get there, one of the starships is gonna release 4 Starlink satellites, so they're gonna have Wi-Fi or at least connection to the Earth very well at all times.
oh yeah, how will
Or
communication
very
between
well.
Earth and Mars work?
I just
wonder
said
what-
they're gonna release. So basically, one thing that SpaceX does, Elon Musk company, they have a thing called Starlink, which is basically providing internet all around the Earth, and they're pretty easy to use. Basically, they will launch or release 4 of them into the orbit of Mars, and so then basically there's going to be internet or connection.
That's
all
very
the day.
little, though.
Imagine you're gaming
Okay.
with your broski, but he lives on Mars.
Damn ping gonna be extra high.
When your ping is 10 minutes.
You know what I just realized? What I just realized that we're just talking about 2 planets, so that means that at some point they could be on the other side of the sun to each other.
Yeah.
Yo.
Also, one thing actually. So
Maybe there'd be satellites to connect it, very well.
You're hardcore
Nuclear
long-distance
rockets.
relationships.
nuclear
Mm.
propulsion.
What did you want to say, Joe?
Nuclear propulsion, which would allow rockets to go very fast. So instead of 7 months to Mars, it would take a couple of weeks.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So
Well-
countries like Russia, they're
Imagine
So
being
they're
on Mars and
focused
trying
on
to
that.
connect to the Europe servers on Call of Duty.
Bro, imagine being on Earth and trying to connect to the Mars West servers, bro. Damn.
What's it called? Olympus Mons.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well,
it wants to just be the Beverly Hills of Mars.
okay. So I would like to now talk about how we could travel to Mars. So when do you guys think the last time we were on the moon was? Just have a guess.
The first time. It's a very easy number to remember.
80s, all right? Pretty sure.
When
80s.
was the last time on Google? Just kidding.
Hey, no, just try
By
to
the
guess,
way,
guys. Before you go on
NASA's-
Google, try to guess.
80s.
Yeah, 80s.
No,
Yeah, sometime.
nope. 1972.
Oh, well,
Whoa.
Yep. We were
This
the
is the
first
last
time on
man.
moon in 1969, and yep, the last people on the moon was 1972. We barely ever go to the moon anymore, so it seems like
Well,
now
now
we're
they're
going
about to
back.
launch another mission next year in 2 years, I think. Something
Yeah,
like that.
NASA is
Yeah,
working.
there are no delays.
And now SpaceX won the contract to.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
oh yeah, and
Oh, that's cool.
Jeff Bezos
Blue
is so
Origin
mad.
doing right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, like literally, Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin have complained, like official complaints to NASA about SpaceX every 16 years consistently this year. No, 16 days consistently this year, bro.
Why?
I mean,
Just-
it's
just 'cause they
justified
are-
though, right?
No, it's not justified. They're a shitty
No.
company with
That
no
guy.
results after 2 decades. They're an
Yeah.
older,
That's
they're an
some
older
results.
company than SpaceX. Like, sure, they have a rocket which hasn't even been to orbit, not once in 2 decades. Even though they originally had a higher budget than SpaceX, like Jeff Bezos was like putting $1 billion a year into the company, and so
No, but didn't they? There was this. I heard this was this space race with
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos and didn't they send one of their spacecraft to I think suborbit, right? So I think they did send
Orbit.
they did a test. Suborbit is not orbit. They
Yeah,
barely went
right.
into the over the Kármán line, so they barely were in space.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Okay,
okay.
it still counts, but I guess
It's,
Gio
it's not
does
that
have a
impressive,
point. Yeah. Okay. And actually, Gio is right though. Elon Musk actually he's planning on achieving it with this spaceship, Starship, and it has a spacecraft and a super heavy, which is just the booster for sending it, and it's almost 120 meters high, and it weighs 15 metric tons,
Damn.
and there's enough space for 100 people, so you just need to send 5 of them, and then you can just repopulate Mars.
Obviously,
You can
there
populate
is
Mars.
not going to
Yeah.
be 100 people on each one because it would be hard to sustain for a long trip. But there's going to be many, and also
And
Wait, no, you have to send 6. The first one would be just full of condoms before the other 5 arrive.
yeah, Elias is right. We do need a lot of condoms.
The 3 years of voyage or whatever, just
it's also the most powerful rocket ever.
Guys,
Twice as
imagine-
powerful
imagine
as the Saturn V.
Really?
imagine 5 you mean.
Yeah.
Yo, guys,
Saturn V,
imagine
same
if someone
fucking
in that huge trip. Imagine if someone in that huge trip had a sexually transmitted disease.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
They definitely would test that. They definitely would test that.
Yeah,
Seriously, what would they be doing during the voyage?
They would
I'd
probably
be
die.
so boring. Yeah. Ah.
I mean, I guess like cryogenic hibernation, but I mean that hasn't really
No.
been developed yet.
Mhm.
Like, your bone, like,
I mean,
the
different.
biggest problem right now is actually
Oh,
getting
yeah,
to Mars.
I
'cause
just remembered.
as soon as you get to Mars, your bones will just completely be
In 3
crushed.
days, there's going to be a test. Inspiration 4. They're going to launch 3 people or something, or 4 people into orbit for like 3-4 days. It's like basically SpaceX. Their capsule, and then Apple is actually giving them technology to track people to see.
I thought you were gonna say that Apple was competing with them.
No, Apple
my
is
God.
working with them and also other companies.
Yeah.
But like Apple's working with them to
Introducing
like basically
the iRocket,
see-
the first ever rocket.
The iCloud.
to see how easily like people with no experience can test themselves and how healthy they are. Like they're going to be using an Apple Watch and different different apps and
Oh my god.
some other companies' products like that allow you to
You have to be
like
kidding me.
kind of extras. No, I can't fully remember, but it makes
How
much
much
more
did Apple
sense.
pay to have to use the Apple Watch?
Do you guys know at what speed will the Starship enter the Mars atmosphere? Have a
Too
guess.
fast.
Too fast? Yeah, you're right.
Faster than
it
Fast and the Furious.
I mean, they're going to go to Mars, then orbit around it a bit, and then find a spot, and then land. So it's not like they're going to go fucking head first.
No, but it's just to give you an idea on how much they have to decelerate. So it's actually 27,000 kilometers an hour. That's how fast they're going when they go into the Mars atmosphere. So
I mean, the rockets are very powerful.
That's like 20, 25, 26.
The Mars atmosphere. You're talking about the atmosphere here. So
Yeah,
are we talking
the
about like
enter-
a Kármán line on Mars, or are we talking about the thinny atmosphere that they have? Is that
we're
scary?
talking about not the Kármán line. That would be way too close. Just the Mars.
I mean, the Raptor engines are very powerful, so
No, but it's to
I know.
Isn't the starter supposed to air brake?
Yeah, I know that's. I'm sure they consider that.
No, but the Raptor engines, they get rid of the 37 that are inside the Super Heavy beforehand, and
There's
so they
Raptor
don't have.
engines on the Starship, dumbass.
Yeah, the starter.
I know it.
The
I know.
Starship
I didn't
has
deny
6
that.
Raptor engines, 3
Yeah, 6. I know.
atmospheric ones and or some shit.
But what I was trying to say
3
is they
that are
lose.
more helpful in space, and 3 for like land. And then the super heavy booster has 28 Raptor
Yep.
engines. Shit done.
No, but what I wanted to say is they lose like over 80% of their Raptor engines. You know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
The fuel, you mean?
Yep. Okay.
They don't
Um.
need all that. Like, think about this. The Falcon 9 has to wait till like the last second before it can start its engines again when it's going down, to land. Because otherwise it would just start going right back up. That's how powerful one of them is. So imagine 6 of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then again, it is landing with full payload.
Yeah.
And one way that SpaceX is going to just reduce costs is by making the Starship a fully reusable rocket. It's only a launch cost will, according to NASA, will be around like $2 million. While like a normal NASA space shuttle flight,
SLS would cost $2 billion.
I highly
It
doubt
hasn't
it.
even flown yet.
no, not 2 billion, 450 million, because they have to replace most of the things.
2 billion.
But, like, how
to
reusable
build the
is it
rocket
actually?
itself, SLS, it costs $2 billion, and it hasn't even been flown once. It's been a huge failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have we gone over all the topics, or
Pretty much.
if anyone else has something to add?
I feel like we. Oh, guys, I want to bring up a fun fact.
Life on
So,
Mars.
I was saying that there's a lot of research going into artificial food. Guys, do you know how much the price of a burger, of a vegan burger, changed, like a patty, over 2 years?
What?
I do remember the last vegan burger I got was like 10 euros for like what, 3, 4? It was quite expensive, much more expensive than the regular burgers.
Or 3? What?
Yeah, see, everyone
Just
we've
say-
proven that meat is better than
guys,
no
anyway,
meat.
so
Also-
a normal patty costs, I think, like 11 euros now or something, or 10 euros, I mean.
Mhm.
No?
They're not that
Yeah.
healthy at all. Like, they use a ton of vegetable oils and different stuff that are
I
extremely
want to
unhealthy. So,
Oh, lol.
yeah.
Well, I think there's different types of burgers, and some of them are healthier and some less.
Yeah, but then
It's all for marketing,
I
really.
want
So
to say, guys, that anyway, the price used to be literally 300,000 for a patty, and now it's 11 euros.
Wow.
So
Why
I think, like you
300,000
said,
though?
it's probably because they
Yes,
put a ton of
no one wants to make
vegetables
patties,
or.
boys. No one wanted to make patties. Now,
Mm.
now they want to make patties. So it's a good trend, positive trend, eh?
well,
Yeah, but I
This
think we
relates to
should.
Mars though.
yeah.
Because
You know-
artificial food.
I guess so.
Elon Musk
Yeah.
wants to use the Cybertruck on Mars.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't it designed for that?
No, Elon Musk wants to use vegetable patties as rocket fuel.
Obviously, the interior would have to change a bit. Also, they would have
Vegetable patties as
you would
fuel.
have to have tubes and stuff to breathe through.
Honestly, I'd buy like 2 tickets to a SpaceX rocket if I was being powered by patties. Is obviously.
In like 2 years, there's going to be the Dear Moon mission. Basically, a Japanese billionaire and some other people are going to go in one of those starships. And they're going to go past the moon, actually. Well, they're going to go around the moon. But it's going to be the furthest any human has ever been from the Earth. So, that's pretty impressive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that concludes the end of the podcast, and
Blue
so then
Origin sucks.
just yep. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, Blue Origin sucks as well. So yep. Okay. I thank you for listening, and contact me at weller.p.we@gmail.com for further questions and comments, and
We're trying to hit 3 views on this podcast.
Let's go.
we're trying to hit 3
Yeah,
views.
we do it.
And at least one dislike.
Yeah, at least one dislike. Because if we get one dislike, we know that someone's at least like watching and not just us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get this podcast #1 trending on
If
YouTube.
you want to then dislike, please.
Yeah, just please dislike the video. That's the least you could do, okay? Just
Yeah.
dislike
It
the
shows
video.
engagement, guys.
Yeah, please. Good for the algorithm. Okay, bye.
Bye, boys.
Bye.
Bye, girls, and everybody.